Hi, I'm John Kelly of the Kelly Law Team. I'm a personal injury attorney here in Phoenix, Arizona. I want to give you 10 tips to potentially double your personal injury settlement. So the first one is that you want to try to establish liability. What that means is that your insurance companies, they're going to wonder who caused the accident, and you want to get that taken care of as soon as possible. So you got to keep your evidence of photographs at the scene, talk to witnesses. If you're able to get the police reports, usually you'll get an accident exchange sheet that'll give you the report number. Track down all that information so that you can try to establish the liability of who caused the accident right off the bat. The second tip, do not give statements to any insurance companies. What this means is that you'll have both insurance companies, your own and the adverse, the one that hit you, they'll be calling you and requesting a statement from you. I would advise you to hold off on giving any statements about not only your accident, how it happened, but also your injuries. You may want to do this later, but you might have to consult with an attorney just for a moment to talk to them about how that would go down. You don't want to get tricked because these insurance companies do everything they can to try to prevent paying you out in their claims, and so they're looking for ways to minimize the amount that they're going to pay out. The third tip, get diagnosed for any injuries that you have. So what this means is that if you have an injury, don't just sit on it and assume that the insurance company is going to give you credit for that injury based on what you tell them. You need to have a professional, a doctor, diagnose that. So you might have to make an appointment with your primary care doctor. If you've already been to the hospital, have referrals that you need to follow up with and get those scheduled. That's very important. The fourth tip, follow your doctor's orders for your treatment. So this seems like it would be self-explanatory, but it becomes difficult with people that are in injuries and car accidents because they have a lot going on. What you want to do is make sure that you follow up with all of your doctor's orders, you do the treatment that they've recommended, you make sure that you go to all your appointments and try not to miss them. If you need to get transportation aligned, you got to try your best to get that worked out or work with someone that'll help you get that done because it's important to make all those doctor's appointments. Remember, you're going to be ordering your records and you want to have a full set that shows all your progress. The fifth piece of advice, get all your full bills and records. And remember, most of these first ones that I'm going over, you don't need an attorney for these. There are cases where you may need an attorney to get involved, but these initial steps are all steps that you can do to help you make sure that you're on the right track right off the bat. So the fifth step, get full bills and records. So after you're done treating or after you get out of the hospital, you want to go to the provider and request from them your full bills and records. Get those in. It can take some time. Get them organized and make sure you have those all in your file and ready to go. If you do already have a lawyer, they'll likely be doing that for you, but if you're trying to handle it on your own, you want to make sure you're getting the full bills and the full records and not just the records or discharge paperwork. The sixth point is to hire an expert to follow up with any deficiencies and outstanding issues in your case. If there's a problem with liability, you may need to get someone to review your police reports, go to the scene, do an accident reconstruction. You may, if there's issues that you've had with pre-existing injuries or pre-existing conditions that the insurance company is telling you they believe the new accident didn't cause them, you may need to have an expert get involved to actually give an opinion about whether those injuries were the result of the most recent accident or if there's some kind of pre-existing condition. The seventh issue, the seventh tip that I have, once you have all this together, you make a demand on the insurance company. And typically you would just want to request the policy limits or an inflated amount that you believe it covers all your medical records, pain and suffering, and future costs that you have. It's sometimes easier to just ask for the full policy limits or a much inflated number. You can put in there also some notes about what you've all been through and everything, and submit that to the insurance company. The 8th tip, you want to follow that up with some kind of a threat of lawsuit. Understand that these insurance companies, if they see that you're representing yourself, they don't want to, they think that you may not have the bite that comes along with them denying your claim. So you want to threat a lawsuit, and if you want to, you can get an attorney involved at that point to write the letter for you to have that backing. The 9th tip, consult with an attorney regarding any timelines that you have. This may need to happen a little bit earlier because you want to know your statute of limitations. Every state is different. Some statute of limitations run after 1 year, some 2 years, some shorter periods. So you want to know exactly what you're up against right off the bat. Remember, you can just call a lawyer, ask them about how your case would play out in the future, ask them about deadlines, any legal requirements that your case may have, so that you know exactly where you are. And the 10th tip to potentially doubling your claim is to work on your liens and your policy information with the insurance companies. There may be multiple policies, insurance policies that you can pursue, or the individually. And you also have to worry about all the liens from the healthcare providers that you have. That's something that usually, if you have a lot of those, you want to consult with a lawyer at least, because those can add up and you can save a lot of money to get reductions in your bills from the liens. A lot of the medical care providers will come back and say, because you got an injury settlement, we want to be reimbursed. Some of them legally, you're obligated to negotiate with them, others not. And so that's a very important aspect of the case that needs to be taken care of. So I hope these tips helped you out. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Otherwise, if you have an urgent matter, you can give me a call at the Kelly Law Team, 602-283-4122. Thank you very much.